Thank you very much, Timothy, for that background report. And seated in the studio for our conversation on cooperatives and financial inclusion, we have Mr. Emmanuel Atama, who is the Executive Secretary, Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria, and President, Abuja Cooperative Federation Limited. Mr. Atama, good to have you this morning. Good morning to you.
Morning, Nigerians.
Also here is Ruth Isong. She's Nigerian Women in Agricultural Business Cooperative Society Limited. Madam, good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning, Nigerians.
Good morning, it's good to see you. And joining us via Zoom from Kaduna is Babangida Isiaku, HOD, Department of Cooperative Economics and Management, Kaduna Polytechnic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Nigerians.
So much. We'll begin with Mr. Atama this morning. Just a few weeks ago, we were here talking about cooperatives in the agriculture sector, and now it's all inclusive, we all know that cooperatives and financial inclusions are becoming increasingly important in Nigeria, and because President Tinubu has said he wants to take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, expand access to credit and drive inclusive economic growth. Now, my question to you now is, are cooperatives a missing link in Nigeria's financial inclusion drive as it is for now?
No. We are part and parcel of the financial inclusion drive in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, my humble self is the co-chair of the task force for informal sector linkage at the central bank, and that task force is made up of so many institutions. You have NIMC, you have SANEF, Federal Ministry of Finance, and about 4 departments from the central bank that are part of it. And for a very long time, since 2016, the Cooperative Financing Agency has been part and parcel of the National Financial Inclusion Drive. As a matter of fact, for 2 terms made up of 4 years, we have chaired the Product Committee for Financial Inclusion at the Central Bank. And that made us to set up a strategy called the Cooperative Inclusive Strategy. So we are not missing in action. As a matter of fact, we just validated the new working document 4.0 together with all stakeholders. And in the one that we used that got expired last year, if you open page 19 of the document, it speaks about cooperative effort and what we are doing to engender financial inclusion down to the grassroots.
Okay, in simple terms, I want you to tell us how the cooperatives are helping actually to close this Nigeria's financial inclusion gap. How are they doing it, especially for people served by banks? How are you going about it? Tell us.
Yes, we have made it a strategy now. A strategy we copy from other best practices like Kenya, what we call the front office service activity, whereby wherever you find a cooperative, it means a branch of bank is there. And how do we do it? We do it through agency banking. So our cooperatives hold accounts with the banks, and then the banks deploy their agency banking platform to them such that they can create bank accounts. They can credit people's account. They can also receive deposit, and everything will reflect as if it was the bank that was doing it. So once that is in place, it helps to engender the financial inclusion drive, because cooperative giving money to people does not mean financial inclusion as according to the practice. The practice is that financial inclusion, the first step to it is open a bank account and get verified. And that is why you see that NIMC is crucial, because it gives you the primary identity. And then having obtained that, you open the account. The bank also gives you a secondary identity, which is the bank verification number. So once those is in place, it puts the person on the financial highway. So you can identify that person and know where the person lives and know where the person is located. So by so doing, we can now say the primary inclusion has taken place. And it does not stop at that. It has to do with pension, it has to do with healthcare, it has to do with credit insurance and all other aspects of the inclusive strategy. So what cooperative is doing is using collaboration, solidarity with all the partnering stakeholders to achieve the financial inclusion.
What about those in the hard to reach, communities? How do you get to them?
That is what I tell people. There is nowhere at the moment that is hard to reach. Because in my village today, even as I enter this studio, I've just passed information to everybody that I will be here. They should tune in. So what happened is that we felt that the place are completely rural. They are rural, but they are accessible in the sense that I give example of my place. There's a Federal University of Health Sciences in Otukpo, which we created the cooperative. The cooperative is linked to us. We also have our software. So you discover that in the rural communities, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have teachers. These are the financial inclusion ambassadors. These are the people helping the rural people to make sure that they get connected. So as far as we are concerned, going to the hinterland where the banks have challenges is because of their brick and mortar nature. But because of cooperative, we can gather anywhere with our system, with our phone, our software deployed, we can always reach out to our people. So as far as we are concerned, the world is a global village now. And based on what we are doing, we are in touch with our people anytime, any day.
Okay. All right, let's bring in Mrs. Ruth into this conversation now. You are the National President, Nigerian Women in Agriculture Business Cooperative Society, and we want you to tell us what NIWA focuses on when it comes to women in agriculture. What specific financial challenges do rural women in particular face when it comes to accessing cooperative loan and all that?
Thank you very much for that wonderful question. So I would like to correct a notion. I am the National Secretary. I am not the National President.
Okay, National Secretary.
Yes, I'm National Secretary, Nigerian Women in Agricultural Business Cooperative Society.
Okay, all right.
So NIWAB, as an organization, we are one of the foremost female-led cooperative society that has over 300,000 women in our network. Some of them are unbanked women, some of them are well-schooled, some of them are in various value chains of agriculture. Some are into mechanization, crop farming, aggregation. I'm equally into aggregation. We have some who are in the poultry and aquaculture. So with that vast network of women, so what we have done is to be able to put them in clusters, and that is cooperative societies. Now, the Nigerian Women in Agricultural Business is an apex where we collect some of these members with small grassroots cooperatives, make them affiliate with us so that they can have access to financial inclusion. So what did we do? We encourage a whole of our state coordinators in various states to see how they can contribute as an organization, as members. So we encourage people within the same community to be able to form clusters because they know each other. I know your house, you know my house. So if there's a default, I know where to hold you responsible from. So there's been able to be that peer pressure put in place to be able to check some of these financial loans and accessibilities. So when they put some of these contributions together like that, they are able to fund themselves, be able to help themselves. As individuals, we cannot access so many inputs as far as the agri sector is concerned. But as a collective, as a cooperative, we can access some of these inputs, like the one we just underwent right now, which is the fertilizer drive. Through the CBN and Tech Agro, we have access to give our women inputs to the tune of over 18,000. Right now, some states were allocated to benefit from the free fertilizer drive under the Renewed Hope agenda of the president. But there are some states that were excluded. So what did we do as NIWA? We partnered with CBN and Tech Agro to ensure that some states like Jigawa had to offtake through us to be able to give out to their members. and their state executives or their state grassroots farmers so that they can be beneficiaries of that. So far, NIWAB is beginning to build that credibility and trust as far as our women farmers are concerned, even in the rural areas.
So how do you begin to build financial literacy among your cooperative members?
Thank you
for
so
them
much.
to understand it?
Yeah, so many of them in those rural communities do not have digital phones. They don't have access to digitalization. So what do we do? Like in Bayelsa State, for instance, there's a training that we're supposed to undergo on soil excellence to teach our members how to produce feed for poultry, for aquaculture. What did our state coordinator do? Gathered women in a hall, brought a laptop, and then they projected the training through that laptop. So those women gained that access to the training, and they were well knowledgeable as far as soil excellence production is concerned. So apart from that, we have our platforms, which is the WhatsApp group where we disseminate information to our members. In fact, there are some of our members who feel that because of the level of speed and digitization that we are taking, they feel overwhelmed. One of them had to call me and said, "Madam, my head cannot carry." And I had to tell her, no, it is one step at a time. Because this is the first time that they are seeing a female organization, well structured, determined to ensure that we break barriers as far as getting information to these grassroots farmers are concerned.
I want to stay with you. I keep asking myself, why now? Why did it take so long for these wonderful things to begin to manifest, to happen in this country?
Well, you know, in some communities, when we go there, we hear some people, there's this resistance because so many persons have come, taken their data, and then there's been no feedback, there's no follow through. So we decided to break that barrier with the able leadership of my president. She's coming from the oil sector, a corporate setting. So what we have done now is try to train our women to remove their mindset from that subsistence farming to corporate enterprise. They are beginning to see an opportunity for them to earn on a daily basis or on a monthly basis. There's a community we went to in Niger State, and what the emir of Niger State told us was what we brought to the community is laudable. But he encouraged us and said, these are women who want daily pay. Can we incorporate like a daily or weekly pay so that they don't have to wait for the end of the month for them to be able to earn? And those are things that, these are various interactions that we feel we can be able to incorporate into our setting to be able to leverage on some of these opportunities that would trickle down to our women.
Okay, wonderful there. I'm glad that women are getting the opportunity to sort of grow and expand their business. Let's go to Kaduna now via Zoom, where Babangida Isiaku is HOD, Department of Cooperative Economics and Management, Kaduna Polytechnic. Madam Babangida, you know, these are you know, trying times. Things are not easy around the world, and I see that the cooperative, you know, is coming up in Nigeria, helping small businesses, farmers and women and young people, you know, to be able to be sustainable in their lives. But my question is, we all know that about India, you know, we have one of the largest cooperatives in the world, and, you know, people come together in clusters to make money. But there are reforms, and that is what we see unfolding here in Nigeria. So what reforms are needed, you know, in Nigeria here compared to other countries, you know, to make cooperatives more transparent and attractive to Nigerians to join?
Okay, thank you so much. If you look at other countries of the world, they were able to transform their cooperatives to the extent cooperatives are into billions of dollars businesses. In Nigeria, one of the major reform we need is to review our cooperative law, because our cooperative law of 1935 was modeled after that of India, and it was just a colonial control given to the registrar, though it was reviewed in 1993 then IBB, and also reviewed in 2001 to make it a cooperative act. But still, actually, it doesn't give cooperative that autonomy they need. And likewise, also, actually, there's need to create a sort of financial stability for cooperative. Cooperative needs finance. So now recently, the Nigerian government is planning to bring back our cooperative banks. Before we have cooperative banks, so now they are planning to bring them. I'd like to also there's need for education, training, and information, because especially in the north, we are left back. So cooperative societies need education. There's need to disseminate the information about cooperatives. Sometimes you meet a lot of people, they don't even know the existence of cooperatives. Even those who knows it, they were thinking it is a government-owned machinery where they can go and get money free, without knowing that cooperative is a self-help organization where they can sit down on themselves and gather the money before they can enter into business. So therefore, as such, there's a need to educate, to inform, and also to give training to even the existing cooperative societies that are working not in accordance to the principles. And also there's a need for cooperative society to know the principles of cooperatives for people, because cooperative societies are run not like other businesses. And likewise, despite that, there's need to establish from the primary cooperative society, there's need to have secondary cooperative society. What I mean is that the grassroots cooperative societies are called primary cooperative societies. They are doing their best. They are coming up, but they need a larger umbrella, which is called the secondary or union cooperative society, that will assist them to do their work in the way that it will cover the entire local government, states, and regions. Then from there, we can re-empower the cooperative organizations, that is the tertiary cooperative societies in Nigeria. So with that, if we do it, we are going to change the narrative.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Babangida there. But from what you have said, it's clear that most Nigerians don't really understand the full meaning of cooperatives, and that's why you are suggesting that there should be a lot of awareness and training when it comes to cooperatives. So, as an academic, let me ask you, how important is cooperatives education? Because one of the reasons is for it to be able to tackle poverty, unemployment, and financial exclusion. So what gaps do you see in training today, and how important is cooperative education in tackling poverty and unemployment?
Thank you very much. Cooperative education, it's a very important thing for the development of cooperative societies. With that education, actually, people will become aware. And when they have the awareness, the next thing is they will start implementing coursework in what they learn. So there's need to intensify that education. Like in my department, we used to organize a sort of seminars within the department for our students. And also we try our best to see that we connect our students with different cooperative societies, especially in Kaduna State. And also whenever we are going to any workshop, because we used to organize workshops, this workshop actually is just a sort of literacy on different aspects of cooperative, on cooperative management, cooperative financing, cooperative, and other aspects of cooperative. So sometimes when we are going, we used to carry some students, and also so that they can go there and see what is going on. So therefore, as such, with education, members will know their rights and responsibilities. With managers, cooperative managers will know what they are expected to do. With education, cooperative directors will be able to know how to be able to coordinate the activities of cooperative societies and achieve what they want to achieve. So in brief, with right education, cooperative societies will set on establish real cooperative societies will be established. Because without education, a lot of cooperative societies established, you'll find out they are not real cooperatives. They are just quasi-cooperative or other forms of activities. But with education, you see the right cooperative will be established. And a cooperative society which is established right is just like a tree with a good roots. Once the roots are good, it will bear good fruits. But when the roots are not good, how can you have a good fruit? No, it is not possible. So with the right education given, we will set good corporate societies, or let me say the best corporate societies will be established in a way that it will continue. And one thing is that once you educate one person, and the person will also educate others, so which to establish a good corporate society through education, that one will multiply into pools of cooperative societies within the environment. Like in my department, we used to write some books on cooperative, but we realized that in the north, example, where we are the most backward ones. So we used to produce books, but we realized that whenever we go to rural communities for corporate society, there are problems. So what I did is recently, I published a book on corporate societies in Hausa, the first in Nigeria, not even in Nigeria, the first in the world, which is a way of trying to see that how can I be able to penetrate through all the villages and other places whereby, because the north, almost 70 to 80% of northerners can speak Hausa. So I produce Hausa book on cooperative society, which is just in order to educate, in order to allow people to establish cooperative societies, strong and viable cooperative societies that can assist in economic development of our dear nation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babangida, for letting us know the importance of having the right education or awareness when it comes to cooperatives. We'll get back to you later in the course of this conversation. But let's come back to the studio, Mr. Atama. If you recollect that the federal government recently launched the Renew Hope Cooperative Reform and Revamp Program. Now, what do you think are the 2 to 3 biggest changes Nigerians should expect to see on ground, maybe in the next 12 months?
First of all, is improved regulation, because it's not all about educating the people, but it's also about when they are set up as cooperative, they are properly monitored to make sure that people's investments are not misused. Then secondly, we talk about issue of the cooperative bank, because one of the biggest challenge we are facing today is that we are like in a sort of competition with the commercial banks. And most of the time, even when government make funds available, it gets difficult for the cooperative to access them because of the conditions that will be put forth by the banks. And whatever we do with the central bank, if we are not a bank, we're not going to be part and parcel of the central bank. So the strategy is that once the cooperative bank is in place, we become part of the bankers committee. Like today, you have the alternative banks, that is the non-interest banks. They are traditional institutions who have leverage on the banking instrumentality to put forth their strategy, and today it is workable. So we believe that once the cooperative bank is in place, it will go a long way to make sure that whatever we want to do across the country will be easily done within our own bank. Then the third one is just like about literacy. We need to improve on cooperative literacy, because it will be shocking to you that the president of Kenya is a member of the cooperative movement of Kenya. That is the extent to which the country value cooperatives. And we believe that by the time the literacy level is increased, it will now push people to become part of the cooperative movement. And when they become part of the cooperative movement, what are we going to get? We're going to get improved mobilization of savings, improved access to credit. And based on the strategy that we have put in place, which I call the cooperative inclusive strategy, you will discover that employment will increase. A lot of people that are in the formal sector today, they are gainfully employed. But one thing that is missing is that their job is not recognized. And how their job can get recognized? By making sure that they either set up a company or set up a business. So what cooperative does is that is a hub of entrepreneurs. So once those people that were not recognized before as owners of businesses get registered, they become recognized. Then when they become recognized, through the financial inclusion instrumentality, we talk about access to pension, which is contributory, access to housing, which is contributory, access to healthcare, which is contributory. These are the major factors that gives job security to the formal sector workers. So through the cooperative inclusive strategy, once we apply that to them, they become recognized and they see what they are doing as the type of job you are doing. So we believe that these three cardinal principles put forward by the Renew Hope Cooperative Revamp and Reform Program will go a long way to impact positively on cooperative development in Nigeria.
So are you saying that cooperatives can sort of reduce dependence on informal lenders who normally charge high interest rates on farmers and businesses?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the funds that come to the cooperative come at no cost. Okay. And you see, the cooperatives are not Shylocks. It's just me and you that agree that let's surrender our funds to the cooperative. Then why cooperative even charge interest rate is just to cover the cost of administration of the fund, but not purposely to make money. So it will, once we have a vast majority of Nigerians as members of the cooperative, putting their money in the cooperative, taking credit facility from the cooperative, the Shylocks, the lenders, even including the banks, will now start seeing that they have low patronage. When they have low patronage, it will break that issue of high interest rate. So in countries where cooperatives are doing very well, you discover that their lending rate is not as high as what we have in Nigeria today.
And that is what we're emulating now?
Yes.
It's lower interest rate for small businesses, so that they can thrive.
Yeah, because there's no reason for the high interest rate. As far as we are concerned, these are just like the evils of capitalism. So we believe that with the egalitarian nature and approach of cooperative, it will go a long way to break these genes.
Indeed. Okay, thank you so much. Before I go to you, Madam Ruth, we need to remind Nigerians who want to send their questions to our guests in the studio and the one on Zoom, and your contributions to the conversation will be waiting for your input. Madam Ruth, for most people, this is a new, it has been there actually, but for most people, this is like a new initiative, a new kind of, help from the government to ensure that you don't need a white-collar job to exist. You can do business and thrive in whatever you want to do. So let's talk about measuring the success, of, financial inclusion beyond just opening, bank accounts that are sometimes rarely used. So how do you begin to measure the success of this, the progress of what you've been doing based on the success rate?
Well, the progress is very direct and measurable because...
How fast is it?
It is very fast, I would say in real time, because like there's one of the programs we just held in Kaduna State recently. Some of our women don't have access to land, but there's a program under She Included in partnership with NIWAP. They train our women on poultry production, and at the end of the day, some of our women went away with funds, cash, awards, and then about 4 women had access to land. They gave them 1 million naira to purchase land for farming. So some of those things are very direct. Now, there's an impact that some of those opportunities have given to some of our women. I'll mention a few. One of them is this one I mentioned earlier about fertilizer, giving access to fertilizer that was not very common, because fertilizer in the market right now is sold for about 55,000. But because of the subsidy of the president, we were able to access fertilizer for less than that, 34,000 for our women, invariably free, and that's why the Jigawa state government took advantage of that. Now we have partners like NCDMB, the local content. They partnered with NIWAP to establish 4 feed mills, 2 already commissioned, 1 in Imo State, 1 in Delta State, then 2 underway in River State. These are women, these rural women, grassroots women that will be deployed to work in those feed mill communities or establishments. Now, how do they do that? They are going to have their produce from their farms. Instead of selling to the local market and being exposed to the risk of price crash, they are feeding,
middlemen.
yes, they are giving to the feed mill. So one way or the other, they are earning income. We have structured it such that they'll be entitled to pension. They have medical bills. So you'll see the excitement in the women, because this is something that was not common. That's why we are saying, as NIWAP, we are taking them from the subsistence farming to a corporate agricultural setting. And then we have the Shicluded I just mentioned. So there's a whole lot of benefits.
What about the young population? We have one of the highest young population in the world, and most of them want to japa, or they don't want to farm and all that. How are you bringing them on board?
Well, there's a slogan we used to use with my president, Lady Grace City. We used to say we are slave farmers. In fact, you need to see the boots that me and her got recently. When she went to the farm with those boots, I was like, there's no way these young ones will not be motivated to want to join the agri sector. I'm an agriculturist. I'm an aggregator of cocoa. I have cassava farms. But when I come out to the studio, you don't know that I was in the farm some moments ago. So we want to make agriculture look very friendly and very attractive for the younger generation. And that's why that all inclusion, female, persons with disabilities, young ones are equally there. There's a sector in the agri-tech that is very lucrative, especially for the young ones, because they are very dynamic. This is the age of the Gen Z. And you see that they are very fast as far as learning is concerned. So there's agri-tech for them to leverage on, even if they don't want to go into the farm. I'm sure you've heard something about the flying farmer. He's a young guy who came up with that innovation, and he's making waves all over the place. So we've made agriculture very attractive for these young ones, so that they can, in fact, in NIWAP, right now, there's something we introduced, which is the POS agency. For you to become affiliated to NIWAP, we set up POS points, because it is not everyone that has access to the Android phone. Now, what do the POS people do? They go to these communities as extension workers and food soldiers and affiliate these members. They have access to other trainings. They have other opportunities that these people are bringing to their doorstep. And these are people who are still strong and energetic. So we had to recruit them to become part of us so they can help us to drive that cause.
All right, no doubt. I mean, seeing you like this and being a farmer would be more attractive to the younger ones,
course.
because
That's the goal.
Yeah. Because
I remember Christy Titi, after we had this conversation, I am a billionaire.
Yes,
I love that. Yes. Yeah, I love this. I'm a billionaire farmer.
Yes, we asked every woman in NIWAP to play that song. Whether you like it or not, in your subconscious, it resonates. Because we want to make money from agric. It is a green revolution. It is something like a time bomb. So we encourage everyone who has the time, who has land, who has anything it have to be part of us. Because the benefits are enormous.
The benefits are actually enormous. But I still want to ask one or two questions from you, because just like I asked him, the launch of the Renew Hope when it comes to the CRRP, how do you think the reform agenda specifically mentioned? It mentioned women, it mentioned youth and people with disabilities. So from your perspective, what must be done to ensure women actually benefit from this?
For some of those reforms, we want it to be very inclusive, in the sense that the interest rates for those loans that are going to be made accessible to cooperatives are single digits, so that we can have access. Because there's a whole lot that these commercial banks need to unlearn and relearn. Because, there are so many things that they don't know about the cooperatives. And then we also encourage the government to see how we can have a repository. Just like the CAC, if you carry NIWAP, you should be able to punch your system and see NIWAP pop up with all their members, just like you do in the CAC. And that's why it's very difficult for the banks to be able to accept most cooperatives, especially when you approach them. The commercial banks, you approach them for loans, because they are like, what is your structure like? Well, we have a very strong structure. We have the bylaw governing us. We have our principles, because it is one vote, one man. So anything you do as a president, if you go against, you can be voted out. You understand? So that gives more credibility. Unlike the CAC, that one family can become like a chain of owners of that organization. So those are things we want the government to do, to be able to give credibility to the cooperative sector and make it attractive for other members to be able to embrace it.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to our Zoom guest now. That's Mr. Babangida. We want to know the impact now, because a lot of impacts have been recorded. But what does the research tell us? I mean, you as an academic, what does the research tell us about the impact of cooperatives on savings, loans, and household welfare, especially for those living in the rural communities?
Thank you so much. Cooperative actually has a lot of impacts on our rural communities, because the cooperatives normally, I think I remember when I work with organizations like Bakita, NIAT, what we do is we enter into villages. That's NIT. We enter into villages for what is called a cooperative mentorship program where I will be assigned to cooperative societies. I will spend 6 months with them. So from that, within that 6 months, we make sure that every 2 weeks, we went there and we lecture them, and then they save money. And before the end of the 6 months, in most of the local governments we go, the program is in 3 states, Kaduna, Kano, and Adamawa. But within that 6 months, members were able to save enough money to the extent which is going to be a sort of assist them in industrialization drive. What I mean is that the impact is they save money, and with the skills they acquire through we cooperators, agri-extension officers, then they were able to understand that they can mechanize their farming. And to the extent some of them have started processing their own crops, like in Maraban, somewhere here. So this, if you look at it, is an impact that our own educational reforms, or let me say activities, has assist them in doing that. Likewise, some of our students, we normally used to go for a sort of excursion with students. When we go to villages, we normally sit down with them, discuss with them on how to be able to establish the corporate society, how to do that. So with that, they were able to understand that what they were making money before, what they are doing before, now they can make it triple, or they can do it better, and they will save money, a common pool, and make money with that. One strategy I employed is that I realized that now it is the rainy season now. So during harvesting season, what we do last year is we met them and we tell them, for you to be able to, don't pay with money, pay in kind. So therefore, those who produce maize, they get 10, 20 to 50 locals. So you'll find out that corporate societies that cannot save money, now they save a lot of money. So which is a kind of strategy we use in enticing them to, because at that time, they don't need much capital. They don't need much, I'm sorry, what I mean is with the little amount they invest, you find out that the money will become more. So corporate society, which we are thinking of getting 200,000, we got up to 700,000. Why? Because of the strategy we employed, that is during the harvesting season. So that is one thing. So which means if you go to different villages across our area here, we have them. Likewise, also most of the directors of corporate societies in the north are from Kaduna State. They were members of, they were one students of Kaduna Polytechnic. So what we do is that we normally sit down with them, visit them, Niger, Katsina, Jigawa. We sit down with them and we strategize on how to go about training train the trainer, and when we train them, then they move on and train others. So with that, a lot of corporate societies now, we started having rural cooperative societies. We started having them in different states of the north. Before we don't have them, before we only have workers cooperatives that are making millions and millions. So now wherever we are going, we took a case study of one successful cooperative society and we take them to a new cooperative society where after we train them, you will tell them a first-hand information on how they were able to go out of poverty through their cooperative societies.
Yeah, I'm still going to stay with you. Let's talk about, sorry, Mr. Demola,
Go ahead.
regulatory framework, that, for cooperative, financial institutions. How can, Nigeria introduce a stronger regulatory framework, without stifling the growth of these small businesses as farmers on the field?
Okay, thank you very much. If you look at it, you see, all the, let me say, our cooperative law, as I earlier tell you, is outdated. Up to now, it has elements of colonialism into it. But thank God, because of this renewed up agenda, there is a proposal for the review of the cooperative law. But one thing that I observed from the committee is that the committee is supposed to have, let me say, regional representative into it, that every sector, or if no states, so that the states, when they participate into it, then they will come back and have their own cooperative regulation. But when I look at the membership of the committee now for the revising of the cooperative law, it does not consist some of the regions, especially the far north. So what I was trying to say is that if really we want a sort of regulatory framework, then there's a need to involve all the states at the national level. After a sort of, after reviewing the law, then that's when each state will come back and do their own cooperative regulations that will give them, according to their own peculiar cultures, because cooperative societies is about economic, social, and cultural activities. So for us to have a good framework, there's need to consider the cultures of every state, and if not local government. So after the state, then the state is from there that you allow each cooperative society from the regulation to draft their own cooperative bylaws. And it is the bylaw that will define how that cooperative society is going to. So when you look at it, we start from the country, then we come to regions, come to state, local government, to individual cooperative society. So if we can do that, at least we can have a good regulatory framework for cooperative society.
I still want to ask you one more question because you talked about the fact that you work with a lot of students when it comes to these working in the communities. But we know that many of these youths are very digital, especially those in the polytechnics and universities, and many of them are not in cooperatives, just like NIWAB is doing to make cooperative more attractive to the youths. What do you think polytechnics and universities need to do to bring in these youths into cooperatives?
Thank you so much. For polytechnics and universities to be able to bring, first thing, just one good news is that
it was so. Mr. Tama, you can respond to that, and I'll give you a follow-up question.
I think one of the things we have done to elicit the interest of young people, just like my sister there said, is technology. I made mention here last time when I came with the Honorable Minister that we have a technology that have existed over 10 years now, the Unified Cooperative Platform. As at the moment, we are even recruiting agents across Nigeria that will onboard cooperatives to this technology. And what does the technology do for us? The technology is like a core banking software, whereby if you put money in your cooperative, you will get a lot. And then you can go to the Play Store and download the app, and you get activated by the administrator in your cooperative. Then through that, if you want to check your status in the cooperative in terms of savings and loan, you'll be able to see it through there. If you want to book for loan, you can do it through there. So it creates that excitement for the generation we are in, the young people, that look, this thing is not all about retiree, because there's a time some persons came from Federal Cooperative College to do IT with me, and they asked me, is this cooperative for old people? Is it for retirees? That the people that visit me, they are retirees. I say, no, it's not for retirees, just that the mobilization has not been done. But I tell you that since we
that's exactly what Mr. Babangida was saying.
Yes.
There's a need for a proper education and awareness.
Yes.
And that's when Noah comes in.
Yes. Yeah. So when we brought the technology, young people have put in their interest, and then went ahead to bring another technology called Aquila. Because one of the challenge we have is not those in the government offices, those in the market, those in parks, those in everyday business. How do we make sure that they are consistent in their savings, they are consistent in their loan repayments? So we brought in Aquila. Aquila provides direct debits, such that it is the young people that still do it. If you go to Aquila office today, if you go to our office today where the Unified Cooperative Platform, it's still young people that are doing it. Over 10 years now, you know. So once you say, I am a member of this cooperative, I'll be putting in so much every month, the system interferes with the banking platforms. So once your name is inserted, your bank will immediately give you an OTP.
Okay.
that Mr. Emmanuel Atama, you are a member of social cooperative, you want to be making contribution of 5,000 every month. Do you agree? Once I say yes, that's all. It will be taking the money from my account every month, and it is BVM based, so that if you move from one bank to another, it will follow you there, and it will be redirected to follow you there. The same thing applies to issues of loans. So when these young people see that, oh, there is opportunity around the cooperative for us through technology, and then the same way with agriculture, because you see, when we say agric, a lot of people felt that it's just cultivation. No, it's not primarily completely cultivation. We have a value chain program now we call Cooperative Family Feeding Program. It's actually a food credit program where we give food to our members and ask them to pay back in 3 months. So through that, we are achieving SDG 1, eliminating extreme hunger and poverty. Hunger for those who eat the food, poverty for those who are within the value chain. So when you start with cultivation, you go to processing, you go to packaging, you go to warehousing, you go to transportation, then you land at consumption. So within this value chain, you see that young people are interested in it because they see that it is not a dirty game any longer. And then the way we farm now, based on our current practice of anchor borrower. So what we do is that they don't need to go and look for land. And the way we do it is that once we have like 100 hectares given to 100 people, what we do is that we send them message on their phone that we are going to clear tomorrow. Everybody will assemble on the farm. Then after clearing, we give them another notice that we are going to plow, we are going to ridge. The same will come. Then when it comes to planting, either we use a planter or they plant themselves. Then we apply herbicide, pesticides, all these things. So you discover that they don't actually need to dirty their hands in the course of the business. And for that reason, agriculture is not even just like a sole business to somebody again. Even those in offices still participate in agriculture now. So this is the way that we can bring in young people. And as I speak with you, in furtherance of that, the Federal Department of Cooperative has registered a youth in agriculture cooperative at the moment. Okay. And they have mobilized a good number of youth across the country that are involved in agriculture because they now see agriculture from the business point of view. The same thing motivated NIWA, because if you are going to look at it traditionally, the way it is that you go and dirty your hand, the way our forefathers used to suffer, they will not get involved. So this is how we are
that
doing
was
it.
then actually, yes.
That's a good one. Youth in agricultural business.
Business.
Okay, fine. We'll talk more about that. But then let's go back to Mr. Babangida so that he can also shed more light to that questions. How the polytechnics and universities are attracting the youth into cooperatives. Just in 2 minutes because we'll go on a short break now. Just go ahead.
Okay, if you look at it, our students usually used to go on IT, industrial training. So whenever they are going there, we normally try to make sure that they went to cooperatives that are genuine. And most of these cooperative societies in Kaduna, we tried our best to see that we make them compliance with recent. That means they are using digital softwares in their activities. So when the students go there and they realize that this is how it is, for example, even the ones in my institution, we are compliant, digital compliance. So when they go there, they learn. That's what they learn, and when they go to the society. Also, we used to go on different cooperative societies, find them even after school, 1 year IT diploma going to cooperative societies, and that one. Likewise, also, whenever, as I earlier said, whenever we are going for any workshop where we have cooperative societies, we normally go with them so that they will see what's going on. So with that, the students are able to understand that digital is very important because with that digital, you can easily click it, get loan, register, everything you can do with it. Students will get it through that. And likewise, also the students, also where they were in the class, there are a lot of exhibitions we did where we shows them how to go about that digitalization of cooperative societies and also softwares. Sometimes we call experts, because I'm not expert on that. We call experts to come to class so that they can teach them how to go about it. So with that, sometimes even the students, we encourage them to call committee members to come on so we can have a hall in our institution. So they can have, so which means with education, training, we do that. I'd like to also remember the principles of cooperative say education, training, and information, which means the information is to give access to education to the general public. So which sometimes we normally look for funding from other foreign agencies or partner organizations or stronger corporate societies. They assist us so that we can go and meet the youth, women, and persons with disabilities so that we can just train them freely. Where the other ones who are employed or they are businessmen, they have to pay before we can give them. So which means indeed we use our best to see that we train the youth on the modern cooperative management.
We have to pause you there because we have to go on a break, but the conversation will continue in a moment.
With us, this is still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. We still have a guest here. We're talking about the cooperatives and the inclusion for the people. And we already have some comments and questions from some of our viewers, which would read out so that our guests can respond to them. The first one that I have here is from Iyakba Atato Kundu Kekura from Nasarawa State. It says, this topic, cooperative and financial inclusion, is a good idea, but it should not be in theory. It has to be in practical because it will help the retirees, the farmers, and also business women. Those who are on board should not be biased in doing, so. This one is from another, viewer. This one says, good morning, Ademola, Jumai, and the guest. The topic is very crucial to Nigeria's economy. However, I want to ask, how can Nigeria transform cooperatives from simple thrift and loan associations into engines of entrepreneurship, agricultural development, industrial growth, while ensuring transparency and accountability? Should financial inclusion be measured by number of bank accounts opened or by the number of Nigerians whose income, businesses, and quality of life have improved because they had access to finance? Thank you. This is from, no name, but you just say kudos to you and kudos to Mr. Emmanuel Atama, Mrs. Ruth, and the others. I wish you people the best of luck in all your endeavors. Amen, amen. Okay, thank you so much for that. This is from Mr. Watungu Elisha from Jos, the Plateau State. He said, I'm interested in this discussion of cooperative. We need awareness about these cooperative issues in our rural communities. How can organizations reach out to our communities and function well to reduce social problems? Maybe we'll start from Mr. Atata so that you listen to some of these questions. You can respond to them.
And you can also talk about the regulatory framework.
Yeah. Like in terms of the reaching out to the rural people on financial inclusion, the Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria is domiciled in the states of the Federation, especially in Plateau. We have the Plateau Cooperative Financing Agency, which is responsible for domesticating the national ideas on financial inclusion. And we are very much in touch with them. We visit them. We relate with them from time to time. So from what he has said, we need to give further push to our agency in Plateau to see that they deliver on that mandate. Then with respect to the financial inclusion, it doesn't stop at bank account, because the bank account is the gateway to the inclusion proper, because it gives you identity. It verifies you for you to be ready to access those things. And then in terms of entrepreneurship, one thing people should know is that cooperatives are actually owned by entrepreneurs. Members of the cooperatives are owners of business. They are innovators, is that not? Who have come together and they are putting pooling resources together from time to time, so that at any point in time, should they need funds, instead of going to the conventional banks that is going to charge them much higher, they now come to their cooperative and get those funds very, very cheap. So, and what we are saying is that to make sure that they have social protection around the job they are doing. So through the National Financial Inclusion Strategy, we brought in pension for them, we brought in health care for them, we brought in housing. These are contributory, even for those who are working with government. And I tell you,
what about those retirees and
yes, the retirees. We just had a discussion with there is an agency that the federal government set up for retirees, and today they are modeling their approach using cooperative instrumentality. And one thing we discovered recently is that, you know, when you say somebody is a retiree, you mostly talk about formal sector job, because somebody that is in the informal, you don't know whether the person have retired or not. And then we discovered that when people retire from work, they just collect their cooperative money. We said no. Those persons are still earning money on a monthly basis as their pension payment. So from that pension payment, they continue their contribution. And then from that pension payment, they repay their loans. And we see how happy they are each time they come for annual general meetings, because they see that they are not completely out of their organization. Because after leaving the office, some of them don't feel like coming back to the office. But if you go to CBN today, you go to NMPC today, you go to all these government agencies, when they do their AGM, the people that wear agbada to the AGM are actually the retirees, because they are happy, because they see that retirement is not the end to socialization and economic well-being of them. So the retirees, we are strong with them, we are working with them, and they are even the one bringing to bear what they have learned while in service to help what we are doing. So the system is all inclusive.
It's all inclusive. That's great. Madam Ruth, so what safeguards sort of exist, to ensure digital financial services do not expose vulnerable Nigerians to fraud?
Well, we have certain collaborations we've done with the NIMC to be able to protect data and information of all our members.
Okay.
Because when we collate this information, some of them, I think naturally when you ask people for your BVN, there's this fear. Of course. So we had to do that level of protection, even with the protection agency. We have the certification with NIMC, we had the partnership, we had to pay a certain fee for us to be able to have access. So, and that's why some of our POS agents can do that in the rural communities where the women don't have NIN, they don't have BVN, they can actually create that for those women, for them to be able to be onboarded on the platform. So we have that protection, and then we have a team of ICT experts who manage those accounts for us, and we have them sign an NDNCA, non-disclosure, non-compromising. Otherwise, you'll be fired. You'll be removed from that sector. So these are things we have put in place to be able to protect our women and their data and information.
Okay, I have some comments from Nigerians. Let me read some of them. Said, good morning presenters and your guests in the studio. Cooperatives and financial inclusion in Nigeria is a welcome development that can mobilize and encourage the citizens, more especially farmers, cooperative societies, and medium entrepreneurs. This will surely promote the economic impact in Nigeria. My question to your guest is, what efforts are being made to make sure the local farmers and entrepreneurs in the villages can benefit without so much stress in the process? Thank you. Alhaji Garuko Karo, side from Abuja, one of our regular too. And A.M. Yusuf Isa, sent in, he said, and the question is directed at you, Mr. Atama. So, Mr. Atama and other guests, well done for the enlightenment. Please, what is the time frame for achieving this cooperative bank? What practical measures should we use to ensure financial records for cooperative? 3, without government coming in, there is no way cooperative can survive, and your own assessment is government intervention in Nigeria. Okay, that's Yusuf Isa. And another one said, good morning, my name is Architect Nicholas Ekene from Gogolada, Abuja. Please, I want to ask the resource person, how can I and my cooperative society benefit from your project. We have a cooperative society registered since 1999, but we decided it out of organization problem. Now we want to reconvene and register with your body for better performance in our farm business, especially poultry farming. And Mr. Daniel Njameze from Imo State, a young youth farmer, I like that. He said, I have interest in partnering with cooperative societies. Please, I want to be connected with a reliable cooperative in Imo State. Thank you. So before we go to Malum Babangida, which of you wants to respond to? Especially the young farmer in Imo State.
Especially for the young farmer, because the beauty of NIWAB is we have our presence in the 36 states of the Federation plus the FCT. So we have state coordinators, deputy state coordinators, and ward, to the ward level. We have ward coordinators as well. So depending on what community he is, he needs to ask. And that's why as I leave here, I'm going to speak to some of our state coordinators to see how they can go on a drive to make sure that they popularize NIWAB and ensure that women have access to be able to join, even youths, both men and women. Initially when we started, we were focused on women, but when we had some collaborations with World Bank, they said, no, we have young ones who want to drive some of these causes, and that's why we had to bring in young men from ages 18 to 35, and then persons with disability, that all-inclusive sector to be able to drive that. So we have, for every state that these people who ask questions belong to, we have our members.
So where can you go in Imo State to be able to?
I will drop our website, because from our website...
Can you just talk about the website so that they can type
www.niwap.org. Once they click on that website, any state they belong to, they affiliate, and then it will give them their direct access to the state coordinator.
Okay, I hope you're listening, Mr. Daniel. You know,
www.niwap.org.
Okay, so you can go there, tap on it and get all the information you need. Madam Babangida, you've listened to some of the, contributions from our guests that I read out, so would like you to respond to some of them.
Thank you so much. I think one of the questions says, how can they transform from simple thrift and query societies to sort of entrepreneurial and industrialized cooperatives? Of course, actually, if you look at a lot of cooperatives in Nigeria, the ones that have enough capital are thrift and query. But now with recent program we are doing through a sort of organization we established, me and my colleagues in my department, we call it Ultimate Promotion and Awards Cooperative Society. We created it especially so that we can be able to be explaining to corporate society how to change from their attitude of only savings to the attitude of production. So therefore, we started that. We made some pure water sellers and we sat down with them and we tell them those because they are into selling pure water roadside. We call them and we train them. What we told them is that if each one of you will be saving 200 naira per day, and if you continue it in 1 year, you will have enough money to buy a small machinery for pure water production, which means from mere pure water sellers to what? To industrialize, to pure water producers. And last one, we met people that are even selling really one time in Zaria when we go to advise them. Most of the old women told us that those they were into cooperatives, but the cooperatives are a bit moribund, and also those they have changed the way they are. What we advise them is how to be able to become industrialized. That is how to buy small machinery so that they can turn it. So likewise also those who are selling tomato by Bakindogo in Kaduna, we also advise them how to be able to start doing a sort of small processing. So what we say is that instead of corporate society to save money, thrift and credit corporate society, larger ones, they should borrow money to those who skill, combine together, that's cooperation among cooperatives, so they can have small-scale industrializations. And likewise, on the issue of others to benefit from, that is at retirees. Retirees actually are advised actually where you are in your cooperative society, because most of the ministries we have, they have cooperative societies. So in the cooperative society where you are, before you left, you can equally inform them that you want to continue with it. So when you finish, you continue. The only issue is that we normally advise that you should not get loan beyond your savings, because your own money is no more coming in, except maybe part of your own pension, which actually you can even submit because the money is not from the source. But one conversation I made, I was so much interested is what that is NNPC, KRPC, Retirees Cooperative Society. We were taken on one workshop. That's when we met their own president, Mr. Campbell. And when he explained to me actually how after retirement, life became something and they established it, I was very much happy. And from there, I took it upon, and whenever I went to any cooperative society, that is civil servant cooperative societies or workers cooperative society, I normally advise them on how to continue, even after a member left. And when cooperative societies broke their own bylaws for me to review, I normally try to include it that even a member after retirement, if he so wish, he can continue with the cooperative society. On the issue of how other people will benefit from cooperative activities or government interventions, actually, you see somebody said they have cooperative society since 1999, and now they want to start benefiting, which means the cooperative society is not rooted very well. If a corporate society is rooted very well, 1999 till today, we are talking about 27 years. In 27 years, if the members are serious and they continue to save, by now they have enough money. The only thing they need is what? Is more enlightenment campaign that they will have. So therefore, in that case, they should meet any local government which is close to them, or any cooperative union, or they can come to, if they are close to Kaduna Poly or cooperative colleges, they can go close to them and they can advise them. There are a lot of cooperative consultants in almost every local government where I can give you their numbers so that you can continue. They will assist you if you cannot be able to take care of me, because sometimes I may not be able to go to Imo. I may not be able to Zamfara or where. So, but if I can, if it is close to me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Babangida, for that. Would like to just apologies for that. We need to just, because our time is well spent, we need to move on with our discussion. We have less than 5 minutes to go. Well, Mr. Atama, I mean, we've been talking about cooperatives and financial inclusion now. We know that the federal government is playing a big role in this aspect, but what role do you think the subnational, that is the states, private sectors, and private individuals can play to further shore up these cooperatives?
Thank you very much. You see, the cooperative we hear of are actually registered at ward level. Then the law allows them to operate within the state where they are set up. The role of the federal government is when those states cooperatives have expanded, like NIWAP, and shown presence across Nigeria, then they get a national certificate from the Federal Department of Cooperative. If not, cooperative is traditionally a grassroots organization. And if you look at the Constitution of Nigeria, cooperative is on the concurrent list of legislation. So what it means is that both the federal and state government create cooperatives, but it must start from the state level before it moves to national. So the state government has very crucial role. And that brings us to the issue of regulatory framework. Because my office, the Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria, have an existing relationship with the World Bank on deepening financial inclusion in Nigeria. And part of the first thing we did was a survey. In fact, NIWAB was part of the survey that was conducted, and it became very clear that a lot has to be done around regulation. You know, because if there is proper regulation, the cooperative that was set up since 1999 that is not productive is supposed to have been scrapped by now. And so what the World Bank have done for us is that after that survey, they gave us the report, and we on our own conducted the second Cooperative Regulatory and Compliance Conference with far-reaching decisions. And as a result of that, as at last week, I and the Honorable Minister supervising cooperative in Nigeria had a meeting with the World Bank with respect to achieving all the targets that were set after that survey, and also in achieving the cooperative bank for Nigeria. Because somebody was asking, what is the timeline? The timeline is that between now and the end of the year. That has to be in place. And you see, one of the things that gave us joy is that one of our cooperative in Abuja here already own a microfinance bank. And they have accepted that we could upgrade to a national microfinance bank and then later on bring it up as a full-fledged...
When is this bank supposed to kick off, and would it make credit at least affordable to the members?
No, if the bank is set up, it goes by cooperative principle. And the cooperative principle says that when you are onboarded, it takes you up to 6 months of consistent savings before you can access loan. So the bank will not deviate from that.
So there will be affordable credit for members.
Yes.
That's great. Madam Ruth, in just, practically 1 minute, tell us, a year from now, I believe we'll be able to come here and talk about this. Where do you see it going a year from now? How do you intend to expand it beyond, like I say, my wildest imagination, especially for farmers who want to earn more money?
A year from now, we want to be able to see our grassroots farmers who are part of NIWAP to be able to scale their agribusiness from the small farmer to probably a producer or exporting. You understand? And there are so many other opportunities that this has. We have partnership with the NEPC for those who want to go into exports. So that's my goal and that's my dream, to be able to see an average farmer leverage from just production to scaling up. And that's our goal in NIWAP.
Interesting conversation, and I believe we'll be talking more about this, as time goes on.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Ruth Isong, Nigerian Women in Agricultural Business Cooperative Society Limited. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Our Bilolian women farmers.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mr. Emmanuel Atama, he's the Executive Secretary, Cooperative Financing Agency of Nigeria, and President, Abuja Cooperative Federation Limited. I believe your website will be very busy in the next few months as people try to log in to be able to get more information on how to, participate in the cooperative society. Now, and joining us via Zoom from Kaduna, Babangida Isiaku is HOD, Department of Cooperative Economics and Management, Kaduna Polytechnic. Thank you so much for giving us an educational view, an expert view on, the cooperative, and we sincerely appreciate your time with us this morning.
Welcome, and thank you so much.
And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. I'll be here tomorrow with another interesting topic to discuss.
And I'm Ademola Adeodu. Have a wonderful day.